first ever live stream. Woot! We've got Sandy from Stake or Die and Emergent Properties back in with us. Sandy, welcome back on the show, bud.
Thanks.
Longtime friend of the show. And so we've been in the background, we've been messing with the idea of going live stream. So we're going to try this first one, see how it works. And Paul's here in the background. He might jump in if you guys are watching and have any live questions. But we're hoping going forward, we have the ability to do live streams so that if anybody's like, hey, we've got an announcement coming up in 4 days, can we hop on the show and let people know? We can get more audience engagement and let you guys know, kind of stay really close to the pulse. Like we already recorded our episode that's dropping on Sunday. But if we have to keep doing the weekly stuff, then there's really a stopgap between the live action and the community. And our whole goal here with the podcast is to bridge the community with the action, the people that are driving it. So Sandy's coming straight to you guys so we can walk through kind of what exactly is the Emergent Properties and the Big Bang. I know we've talked about it a lot, but there's actually more to it that we haven't covered. So Sandy, why don't you walk us through it?
Yeah. Well, Eric, you did an amazing tutorial that helped people or showed people how to mint, which we're really grateful for. So anyway, I was, one thing that was really important to us was not just important, but it's like critical to the idea of ownership, I guess, when it comes to generative art, is that, what you actually own when you mint something is a randomly generated seed that's stored in a state where it's not actually part of private metadata. It's outside that. It's like its own pieces of contract, but it's only viewable by the owner. And that makes it so that no one could, without the seed, could replicate your artwork. But the problem is that if that's all you owned, then it begs the question, well, what about the thing that actually generates the artwork? Like where does the seed get input into? Where does that thing live so that I could regenerate it if I wanted to at different resolutions, etc. So right now you're just doing it on our website. We're doing it for you. The browser's running code that's doing it for you. But what if we shut our website down, right? What if we decided to shut it down and delete our database and everything was gone, right? Then what do you own, right? So I kind of wanted to, it was important to me that you have that all the abilities to generate it. Everything that you're seeing is available to you, independent of us. And so I want to show you how to do that.
You're going to lose that leverage.
Yeah, totally. Well, hopefully whatever leverage I lose will gain and more people wanting to mint, I guess you could say. But what I'm going to do is use the command line interface, the CLI for Secret CLI, which again is controlled by Secret Network, right? And that just exists because nodes are up and running. And then you can run the CLI, which is like a Tendermint thing. It's a low level thing. And then I'm going to generate the artwork. And the other cool thing is when I do this, you'll be able to actually see, you can play with your answers. And so you'll be able to see what it would have looked like if you chose different different points, different rings, different stuff. And I thought that's kind of cool because you can see what it'll look like, but also because when you want to do the next one, you can play around and get what you really like and then do that, but it'll be different because you'll get a different seed. If that makes sense.
Let's take a look at it.
So, awesome. So I'm going to start from, I do have this is weird that I asked you to do this and then I have a hard stop, but I have a hard stop at 4:30, but I'm going to go as quick as I can. So anyone can DM me if they have any problems doing this, but I'm going to start by actually installing the CLI just because most people don't have this installed. So if I type in Secret CLI status into my command line, and by the way, you can find the terminal in, I don't know if you're on a Mac or PC, it's different, but you need to get to the terminal. So I have Secret CLI installed, but I'm going to install a different one just so that, and we'll use that one so you can see how you would do it straight, how you would do it straight off. So we'll do the whole thing. So this will be a little CLI lesson as well as an Emergent Properties lesson.
Yeah, and for the record, viewers, if you're wondering why you'd need to use the Secret CLI or whatnot, right now, that's actually what it takes to put in a governance proposal. This is back when the Anons were minting and the site went down and there were a lot of people were struggling. This is kind of the more proper way to access the blockchain and get everything done instead of just relying on the user interface, which is kind of a stopgap that makes it pretty.
Yeah, so you're basically, it gives you hero abilities, I guess you could say. people who are minting and behind the scenes and people getting frustrated. Well, it's not that hard. You just have to sort of like have a little faith and you can do it. Okay, so just real quick, I'm going to go to the GitHub, which is where the secret network code actually lives. It's totally open source, so anyone can go in and see the code. And in here they have releases. Right now there are 24 releases. The most recent release is 1.2.2. I think actually most nodes are running 1.2.0, but the CLI will work for it. And so you can see there's 3 here: the Linux, Mac OS, and Windows CLI. And I'm running a Mac, so I'm going to download the Mac one. Just going to click on this. It's going to save it. I'll save it to my downloads folder. And in my CLI, I'm going to just forget. So the which command tells you where something lives. So I'm just going to do that. Okay. So what I need to do is move what I just downloaded into this folder. And I'll do it as easy as I can by just doing open and typing that in. And by doing that, it opens up that folder in your file system. This is like, yeah, anyway, whatever. So this is like binaries, which are like the compiled actual zeros and ones files that run programs exist in this. So I'm going to take this file. I'm sorry. Take this file and just drag it into here. And I'm going to rename it Secret CLI 2. And then I only have to do one other thing. I have to change the permissions. So to do that, you can do it with a command line, or you can go to, I believe, I'm going to just try it this way. You can go to here and go to sharing and permissions. And let's compare it. So that's what it is for this one. The actual one here, get info. And it's read write, read only, read only. It looks the same, but I don't think it is, or else it would be showing, it would look different. So I think what it has to be is 400. But anyway, I'm just going to do some quick stuff. Don't get too concerned about this. So secret CLI is here, and secret CLI 2, where is that? Oh, wait, done. Okay, so here we go. Secret CLI is that. Right. It needs executable permissions. I think that this is 644. I'm going to guess. Sorry. This
all good.
Strange. Oh no, 755. Done it in the past. So I'm going to do this. Okay, so now it looks the same. You can see it. And now I can do secret CLI 2 status. And the operating system is telling me I have to open it through the operating system once to approve it.
It's all right, but that's how you set it up. So you could use the original one to kind of show people.
Yeah. So then I just did that really quick. So let me. Okay, so it works now. And then the only other thing to do is you need to point it to a node. So if I do secret CLI 2 big, you can see that right now it's actually that's cool. So it shows this is the bootstrap node that I was going to tell you to do it. I guess it grabbed my config from my previous one. But nice. If you need to change these, I don't know, reach out to me. We want to do it. But anyway, so this is all set up. I'll just use the regular one, like you said. But if you needed to set it up, that's what you would do. And you can just run the status to see that you're up. And you can look at what block it is and all that good stuff. Okay, cool. So what are we going to do now? The next thing I need to do is just install something really quickly. It's called JQ. It's a small file that allows you to interpret JSON, which is a file format, or a string format that you see here, where it uses curly braces, and then you have chain ID, colon, secret for, list things. It's basically a way of representing data in a string format, and it's interoperable between different systems. So JSON is like a really important thing, and this JQ allows you to interpret it. So I can see it's working now. Okay, cool. So the first thing we want to do is, that I'm going to show you how to do, is get the code. So, okay, I'll take it. I'm going to go to Emergent Properties. And I'm going to go to my chair is making things a little slow, but okay, cool. So I'm going to go to my mprops here.
Yeah, and this website here is mprops.io. We've got it in the top right.
Yeah,
this
you
is
can
the Emergent Properties website.
Right, so these are my 4 that I minted. And so let's start with, we'll just do this one, okay? And I have all this stuff here that only the owner is able to do. I can publish my traits, I can download it at higher res, I can add provenance to it, so I can sign it, other things. So you know I'm the owner here. The way this is possible is that you can see this is because I have a viewing key that is aligned up with my wallet, which is the wallet is exposing right now. That gives me that when our user interface checks, it says, okay, this guy's the owner of this thing. So what I need to do then is I need to get my seed through the CLI in order to be able to put that into the code, which I'll also get from the CLI in order to be able to mint it.
Okay, and can you explain what the seed is?
Sure. So in a generative, in the way generative art works is when you mint it, we randomly generate a seed for you. It's a random string. Actually, why don't I get it, and then you can be able to see it. So what I'm going to do is run a command called, so anyone can run this command on mprops, where you do secret CLI. You do have to know the mprops ID, but you do secret CLI query. You do query, or Q for short. Compute query, and the mprops ID, and then you're going to do this nft.ca is a command, and then I'm going to put the token ID, which number 45. You can see the token ID up here in the
Nice.
in the header. So I'm just going to copy that, and I'll do token ID, and then I'm going to paste that as a string in here, right? Mm-hmm. And anyone can do this. You could do this on my for my, even though it's not my NFT, and you'll get a .ca. Then what we're going to use is this thing called a pipe, which is just a very common Linux thing, and type this JQ, and that'll give us in a format that we can read. That's why I installed that. And what you can see here is that, so here's the image that where we saved the thumbnail, and then you get down to this section down here, and seed is null, and it says you are not authorized to perform this action here, right? That's because I'm not because I didn't put the information needed to be the owner. So I'm going to do the exact same command, but this time I'm going to enter owner.
So you can't steal my seed.
Right. And I'm going to go up and I'm going to get my, this is actually the wallet, so I'm going to do this over here just because I don't want everyone to look at my balance, but I'm going to go to Kepler. I'm going to copy my actual address and wallet address. I'm going to dox myself here, but that's okay because I don't do anything crazy anyway. And then what you're going to do is do a viewing key. You got to bear with me because I'm pretty sure this is right, but I'm just showing it. I'm just going to show it to you. And how to get the viewing key is this is specific to our user interface. The other way you could do this would be to actually create a new viewing key. But if you did that, it would invalidate it on here. You'd have to do another one, etc. Viewing keys are a whole other subject. I think that there's better UX that we could all work together to create for viewing keys because they're actually kind of amazing. but we've built ourselves a bit into a corner where permits are a much easier thing to use. However, permits are more expensive, so they slow down UIs.
They're
That
expensive
might be controversial,
and they're slow.
but I'm going to say it. They're slow. So what you do is you you right click here and you inspect. If you don't have this inspect here, you want to go look somewhere in like edit or something like that, or view, and find this developer thing, or maybe it's in help. You have to do it. I can't remember, but you have to set up the developer settings. Anyway, this will open. You go to your application. In the application area, in local storage, my mprops, you can see all this stuff that's saved in your local storage. And part of it is this object. This object has all the different viewing keys that have been saved in here. And the wallet that I'm using here is this one that ends in 5Y. You can see it's the same one here. And I'm going to go to address keys, and then see this one that says mprops here. This is studies, this is secret, and then this is mprops. I'm going to go into here and grab the value right here. That's my viewing key. Okay. So then we're going to close this, and I'm going to paste that over here. And then I'm going to run this. And it's still saying not authorized. And I think this is what I was afraid I was doing wrong. I think I have to do.
Of all of the color palettes, which one's been your favorite so far?
I like the what's it called? Lucha Libre.
I got a nice Lucha Libre. That's what I actually have as the background for my Twitter profile now. Got my N on over Lucha.
Sorry. I'm gonna do something quickly here.
You're good.
And find out. I have this command somewhere.
About the viewing key thing, I've been working on the NFT raffle, reveal.network, which is going to come out later this month. And we decided to fully do viewing keys and setup permits. And we actually made it so that you can use one viewing key for all of the different raffle rounds, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
We're pretty big fans of using viewing keys and setup permits in most situations.
Nice.
Although Stash is doing a pretty good job with permits.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, you can see that the actual thing is you put viewer here, and then in that you put address in your viewing key. So I'm going to just go back and update the code that I did before. And in here, instead of owner, I'm going to put in viewer. So viewer, and then inside that colon, then brackets, and then you put your address in your viewing key. And there we go. So now I do have permission, and I get my seed. And this is my seed. And this is the thing that you put into the artwork and gives you all the power to generate things that you want. Right? So I'm just going to open up a new Excel sheet and just save that here. So I have it, and then I'll put it off. I'll bring that back, but just so you know what I'm doing. Okay, so now we've got the thing that's private. So that was the hard part. Let's say that's the viewing key, and it's all yours, and it's intentionally difficult, right?
Yeah.
Next thing I'm going to do is I'll do a series of things to show you how to get the code. And what we did was in the contract itself, we did something called Base64 Encoding, which just shrinks stuff and turns it into a seemingly random string of numbers. We encoded an entire HTML document, basically a screen or something that a browser could load and display. And included in that is a CDN link. So a CDN is I can't remember what it means, but it's basically a server that is serving files to people. You use CDNs for all sorts of things. We actually used Arweave, which is a decentralized CDN, and we saved the P5.js, which is the library we're using to generate this art. We saved that on Arweave. The HTML document that is Base64 encoded and exists in the contract is going to includes that link to that P5.js thing. So the important part of this is what I'm saying is totally decentralized and stored permanently, let's say.
Nice.
So the first thing I'm going to do, and I'm just going to copy and paste just because for speed purposes, and I have these commands written down. So the first command that I need to do is the command that actually gets that code. So what this does is, so secret CLI, again, query, compute, that's a compute module. So this is the module that handles smart contracts. And then I'm going to query it. And then this is the address. And then I'm asking for code. So this is saying the code that we just talked about. So I hit that. This is what a Base64 encoded HTML looks like.
Yeah, and you have to type that in character for character.
Yes, exactly. Now, there's wrinkles here. What I actually want is this, not everything in here. So I have to actually I have to parse this, what this is JSON, I was telling you before, I have to parse it to get into here and grab this. And so I'm going to run another command after this. So again, I'm going to do what's called piping. You can see I'm just going to type over this. But I'm going to do then .code. It's nested in 2 codes. If I run that, now I get just the string, just the Base64 encoded. See, it starts with P right there, like that. Okay. Now I'm going to type an additional thing to this, and I'm going to do a thing called Base64 decode. And that, I now have decoded it, and it's an actual HTML document. You can see it's an HTML document here. HTML, doc type HTML, head, and then has all this stuff in it. Very cool. So this is saved in the contract. It's totally yours. It's anyone who wants to query. This is a public query. You can grab this. The next thing I want to do is, and I'm gonna copy and paste this again. This is a little bit more in depth, and maybe we should post this, or I'll post it in here. How do I do that? In chat. What do I click on to do the? It's weird. Do I not have access?
I'm not sure. I don't know if they do externally.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Well, anyway. Oh, right. That's through YouTube. I see. Okay. Well, anyway, we'll have it posted afterwards. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what we want to do is this code here, which is so SED is a string replace function. You can use it for a lot of different things, but we're using it to replace. So we do SED and then in single quote, then /, and then what we're going to do is in this HTML document, there's a part that says for minting only, do not modify. Okay. We're going to add into that a function that is needed to make the HTML work. Okay. We're going to add that function in, but instead of the hash that was here, I'm going to delete that. Delete that. Didn't work. Oh, okay, let me just do this. Forgive me. So we did another pipe, and then I did this command, this script command. Here's where the seed that was in the one that I had saved starts. For you, you'll have to type this whole thing out. Hash. This is hash. It's not for the faint of heart, but it's worth it just to show you the possibilities. And if you want to play around with it, you can. Okay.
Yeah, this is what's really going on behind the pretty pictures and websites that you're using.
Yeah. So then this in between here is where I want to put the seed that I copied before.
Okay.
And so I'll bring that back out here. Here's the seed that I copied. I'm going to paste it in here. Okay. Great. The other thing is now I need to put the answers that I gave before. Those are also those are also saved privately, but they become public once you mint it. Right. So in this case, the number of rings is 4. You can see that here. The color palette is anons. So we're going to go into here and type anons, and the Genesis ring points is 14. Okay, so if I run this, I will now get the same HTML that I just had before, but in place of where it said before, don't update this, is this script bit that I just gave you right there. It slotted it into there. Only thing left to do now is save it to a file. So this arrow like this, I'm just going to type in the file I want to save it to. The tilde is just for your home directory. I have a home directory called tutorial in my home directory. You can see it down here actually. I don't know if this is too small, but it says tutorial. And then I'm just going to call this mprops. What number am I again?
45?
45.html. And it's that. And you can see the file was created in here. Now the only thing I have to do is just open this in a browser and pray that I didn't mess anything up. I think it might take some time to run because, well, let's see. Let's make sure I didn't see anything. No. Let's see, in the head. Let's see, any errors? Oh no. Get token info is not defined. It's a bad error to get. That's not what I wanted. Token info is defined right here. Unexpected colon. Oh, I made a mistake in my hold on. Mistakes. Answer form. Shoot, copy and paste in my head. It works.
I love that it'll actually tell you what the errors are, though.
Yeah, totally.
That is super helpful.
You know what I think it might be? I think maybe the number of rings is not here. It needs to be in quotes. Try that again. But I should have overwritten this HTML document. Open it up again. Still 2 errors. I should have tested before I started.
It's all good. But so pretty much you should be able to view this independently using the CLI, whether your website's up or not. And then you said that if you were to change your answers to the questions, which obviously you can't do after the fact, but you'll be able to see what your seed, what your mint would have looked like had you answered the questions differently.
Yeah. So let me just get this to work because it's going to frustrate me. No end if I can't. So this will be a different one, I believe. Define it in here. Shoot. So disappointing. Sorry.
It's all good.
Well, I'm going to search for one that's more. Rings do have to be. No. Yeah.
I think if you look, hash you have as quotation marks around it when you were trying it earlier. This one doesn't. That's one difference. You scroll up to
The
like
word hash here does not.
If you scroll up, you had it in the first 2 times you ran it.
Yeah.
And then you also have a return. And it's not in the initial ones.
Oh, that's what is missing. Yes, thank you.
Paul for the rescue.
Okay. This is the last one I tried. That's the right answer. No. This is point 14. Okay, this one is the right one. But of course, I need to return that. I malformed it. There we go. Yes, it worked.
Nice.
Sorry, guys, I made that really boring. So now
I know you have a hard stop in I know you have a hard stop in a second.
I can go a little bit longer because
cool. Could you show us what it would be like if you changed the answer? I'd love to see it.
Exactly.
Totally different.
Totally. So anyway, you can see right here that just to reiterate this, our site has no control over this. You're doing this totally decentralized. This will exist as long as Secret Network exists. And I just generated the exact same thing. Now, like what you just said is, I can go in here and play and start playing around. So let's give 2 points or 3 points. No, that's not gonna look good.
It's a minimum of 6, right?
5 points. Yeah, but that's only minimum in our contract because we didn't want it to look
really?
shitty.
Huh.
Yeah, so you can really mess around. We'll do
what does 1 point look like? It's just
so I'll do 5. Well, I'm gonna do 5, and then basically all I have to do is to go back to my browser here. Let me put this browser here and refresh, because what I did is I saved over this file, and the browser's looking directly to that. Okay.
Huh.
And so now you can see that it gives you same thing.
So you can find out exactly what you would have had to do to get God mode.
Yeah, well, I'm actually just kind of surprised because usually changing something doesn't change it as much as it just did, which is really interesting to me, and I actually kind of like it. But let's go to start messing around. So let's make this 100. Let's see what happens.
Oh my gosh!
Right?
I love it.
So then, but okay, cool. So let's even mess with this more. Let's go back to what I had. Let's go back to, we'll make it 7, let's say, but let's make the number of rings 50 and refresh it. So now it's doing 50 different rings into the same thing.
And you can totally tell, like all the colors are different. All of the textures are different. Like it really shows how like the true variety that any individual seed and color palette and answers could come up with. And one thing I didn't understand when you guys first talked about it on the show is I thought if 2 people put the exact same answers, that they were going to get the exact same thing, that it was going to automatically correct it. But
so this is even cooler. So okay, I'm just going to make it black and white, let's say, and I'll do something reasonable, 10, just to show you one more thing that I could change, the color palette. And that'll come up as you would expect, black and white, right? Okay, cool.
Nice.
But like, this is somewhat recognizable. Like, just go back to the way mine actually was, which was did this one 10? I think I had no. Sorry, guys. 54, 14. I'm just going to type it in, the last one I did, so go back to here. I had, remind myself, I had 4, 14, and anons. Okay, 4 anons. So if you misspell, it's going to, you have 2 different options. But so I did 4 and 14. So I'll do that, and then refresh. And I'm back where I was, okay? So it's really important to realize that this is totally deterministic. Like, if you do the same thing, you're gonna get the same thing, no matter how many times you try it, right? But check this out. Here's the hash that I put in. This is the seed that you gave, that I got. That was private metadata, only I could get. I'm going to go and make a tiny change to the seed. Okay? Let me make it. I'll remove one of the 3 and then run it again. My brother's calling me. I don't know if he's calling me, and I got God mode.
Oh,
That was that was a completely lucky
man!
coincidence.
Tell me that wasn't planned.
Dude, you just saw me.
That's
I took
awesome.
my seed and I randomly chose.
Clearly you minted wrong.
To remove a 3 from. See, the difference is just a 3, and that 3, going back to it, gives me the one I had. And I could just do it one more time just to prove the point. Just randomly, maybe I'll get God mode every time. I'll show you that it's not that rare. But I should remove that 3, and then again, and that's what I get.
Nice. Yeah, completely drastically different. And so these are with the exact same, the exact same answers to the questions. Just if you had different seeds based on what mint you get. So even if you meant the same. If you meant 3 different ones, answer the same thing every single time, you're going to get 3 completely different pieces of art, and that's that's incredible. In fact, if you meant one thing one way one time, you might get 2 different pieces of art. And that's I wanted to show you guys a little something I pulled up, and unfortunately, it seems like this wouldn't work too well if you use
this
the
CLI. Is a glitch. Yeah, you got lucky, you could say in quotes. Basically, when for some reason when you did this, the what our code, I think, didn't save the right. It saved it too quickly before it had been finished generating or something. So yeah, you got something weird.
Well, I have named this mprop Tyler Durden because it definitely has 2 personalities. But if you look through the parameters of it, it says, oh, it's got polka dots and whatnot. And you look at it, it's like, no, it doesn't. But this is the autumn color palette with 1 ring and 8 Genesis points. But if I go to download it, it's got a completely different picture, and this is the one that is technically correct. So it's a completely different shape, different colors. And I love it. Right. It makes me feel special.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I hope I have to run now because I did say I'm late for a meeting now. But the last thing I want to say, I hope you sort of saw a little bit of the fun that goes into the creation process here, like what you're actually doing. I mean, the code that you're creating was something that we labored over forever, using all sorts of like polar transforms of Cartesian coordinates to make sure that we didn't have any overlaps of points and stuff. And we're just scratching the surface, but the real magic is when you sit there and you're randomly generating one after the other and watching it, and it's just so exciting. And what we feel like is that there's room for improvement in this collection, and people who already have one will be able to use that one to get that improvement for free maybe. Or there's a lot of ways we can mess with this, but it's really just about experimenting and trying to see what is really cool about artwork and generative art. And we're the other thing we want to do pretty soon is try and put a playground in place so other people can write their own stuff and try and mess around with it. So anyway, I gotta run.
All right, Sandy, thanks for coming on the show.
Clear. Yeah.
The ending's fantastic where you get to actually mess with it and see what it can do. But it was a very, very fun minting experience where you're sitting there wondering like, oh, what's going to show up? I kind of know a little bit about it, but especially in the future iterations where the questions might even be more abstract, where it's like, what's your favorite pet or whatnot, and you have no idea how it's going to correlate. It's going to be a really cool platform, and I love my BigBangs.
And maybe we give more control. Maybe we give control to everything so that it's totally yours, or maybe we just have one thing be random or something. But there's a lot of different ways we can do this. But
I got a quick question. Is there any way where you can imagine? So I guess it seems like the even cooler aspect is instead of owning just the individual art, you own the seed, which can generate so many different pieces of art. It'd be cool if there's almost like a Russian roulette where even just paying like a little fee to try and get a better one, or just again a new random one. Based on
if you don't like yours, be able to do one more
based on your seed.
Change your answers.
Change your answers. No,
not really. It's a cool idea.
But anyway.
Thanks for hopping on, Sandy.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. See ya.
See you.
Bye.
And guys, thank you for watching the first live stream of the Secret Code podcast. We're going to try to bring more live streams so you can have kind of live walkthroughs from anybody who's building something and wants to share it with you guys. And hopefully we could have more than one episode per week and get you guys more directly in touch with the content. So stick around, hit subscribe, and we'll try to keep you guys posted. Follow us on Twitter at Secret Code Pod, and it'll give you guys a little bit of a heads up, like, hey, this person's going to come walk through this with us, or hey, we're going to have a live AMA with Carter about Shade and Silk, something like that to look forward to.